Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through the industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Tracey-Ann Rose. She's a business coach for Intuitive WOC. If I understand, it's women of color and who want to sign four-figure clients through their purpose-driven business. Welcome to the show, Tracy.
Thank you so much for having me, AJ. It's an honor to be here.
You are welcome to the show, Tracy. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are talking right now. We are talking about innovating one's business, how one can innovate their business with intuition. So help us understand, since when, a bit about your background, and so that people can understand a bit more about you, who you are through your journey that you have undertaken.
Yeah, so in 2014, I was in a really rough space in my life. I had been having issues with my husband at the time. We were talking about separation. My health was at an all-time low. I was spending hours a day in the bathroom. So I was just drained every day. I didn't have any energy. And I was pursuing this acting career where there wasn't a lot of authenticity in the industry, and there was a lot of stereotypes, and that didn't resonate with me, but these were the opportunities that I had. So I just kind of kept walking this path that was draining my energy with these unfulfilling relationships and a career that was very much based on external validation for your physical appearance. And it really didn't feel good. And I was at my acting coach's studio at the time, and she brought up intuition and how that could help you book roles. And I never really heard about intuition. This was all new to me. And so for those of you who aren't really sure about what intuition is, it's really like your body talking to you. It's that gut instinct. It can also come in the form of insight. So whenever you're being creative, like thoughts just come to you and they solve your problems, or it could be in the sign of like signs, patterns, themes coming up in your life. So I really had no idea at the time, though. I went to the workshop and it changed my entire life. My husband and I, we started to connect on a spiritual level, and now we've been married for like 11 and a half years. My career, I decided to drop acting because it wasn't resonating with me. And I moved through writing and then ultimately coaching, where I found like I was making the biggest impact on the lives of others. And that is so rewarding to me. So, I realized that tapping into your intuition can ultimately transform your relationships. It can innovate your life, and it can innovate your business. So when you're willing to listen to that little voice that's inside of you and follow the instructions that it's giving you, its guidance, the world opens up to you.
Right. Thanks for that, Tracy. Now, in terms of intuition, how does one know that they are intuitive about things? Is it that some people are more intuitive and some people are less? Why is it so? And then how do I know whether I am intuitive at all? So is there some sort of a litmus test that one can do on themselves?
Sure. So everyone is intuitive. Everyone's born with it. We just access it differently. So I like to think about, like, say you're doing a meditation. What are the sensations that you experience? Because some people, they don't see anything or visualize anything while they meditate. So that might not be their source of intuition, but they might feel something. They might get a sensation or have this sudden thought from this very calming voice. And that's another great way to distinguish between intuition and sometimes like anxiety. Is the voice calm? Is it reassuring? Is it gentle? That's intuition. If it's screaming at you and it's making you feel more frantic, that's anxiety. So don't give in to that. And how do you know if you're intuitive? Have you ever had this gut feeling about a situation or a person and you didn't know why? And then later on you find out, oh, like something was off with them. That's usually one way to start understanding how you receive your intuition and how it feels in your body.
Right. So I want to understand you, Tracy. You want to, you focus a lot on women developing their intuition. Why is there a particular reason about that? I thought women already are a lot of intuition. For men, you see, men get women, whoever they know, either from office or even their wives, into some discussions, because men can sometimes tend to be more positive about things, about people. Women can be more intuitive, and they will tell this guy or this particular team looks a bit, fishy. So we get that insight. So why do you want to push them to get more intuitive? I want to understand. Just a bit
Yeah.
of, because they already have this, I guess, by
It's
birth.
true. Yeah, I do feel a lot of women are more in touch with their intuition. I am particularly passionate about helping women of color because of my experience of feeling very just sort of walking through the world, constantly feeling like, ooh, like I'm wrong. Something's wrong with me. I don't belong. I need to fit in. How can I fit in? How can I, especially when it came to acting, like, how can I look like what they imagine the role to look like? And I found that I was getting out of touch with myself. So I really focus on women in particular because I think when we get in touch with that small voice, that intuition, that gut instinct, that's when we're able to transform our lives and our communities and the lives of our loved ones. Like my husband has definitely benefited from my intuition relationally and in his business. Like I am his secret business advisor of like, oh, I think you should go in this direction. And anytime he does, he has huge leaps. But I think men, honestly, they learn a little bit more. And this is my opinion. So you let me know what you think, AJ. But I think men learn through modeling a lot more. And so to see somebody lean into their intuition is inspiring to them rather than when I talk to them about it or talk to my husband about it, he's like, sounds cool. But when he actually experiences it, it's integrated in his body. It creates that new neural pathway. He's like, oh yeah, this is an option for me, intuition rather than anxiety.
Absolutely. See, the thing is that everyone wants to see the good part of it. Nobody wants to see food being cooked, but they always want to see the dish. And that is much
Absolutely.
more alluring. In the same way, intuition in others, you want to see the output that you get, which is benefiting you, and not that process. So maybe people are, because men especially, they are much more looking at the analytical part of it, solution
Mm.
oriented. So instead of that part of the process, which can be different for them to look, but yes, if the outcome is there, output is there, which is benefiting them, people are always, you see, they always look at the profit side of things, and when it benefits, they are, they are happy about it. But again,
It's so
their
true.
natural self takes over.
Yes, but it's great when you get to experience it yourself and then you feel empowered. You feel that self-empowerment. But yeah, intuition is a process. I used to do one-off sessions with people. Now I do 6-month coaching, but I stopped doing one-off sessions as much because people wanted intuition to just give them the outcome, to just give them that finished dish. And it's like, no, you're not going to learn if you just receive the finished dish. You want to learn how to cook it, not just consume it when it's before you.
Absolutely, I agree with that, and that is where the business part of comes in, with where men and women, because it's a different feel altogether every time. Husband, wife, partners will not be together, or anyone else. Many are single, solo businesses. So how do you get intuition into one's business? I thought business is much more about hardcore decision making based on data, based on numbers, based on facts on the ground. Intuition is something much more deeper. I believe in it, but how do you get that into the day-to-day business side of things?
So, what I work with my clients on is really creating a sense of flow. When do they feel like they can do whatever they're doing forever? And then I help them build a business based off of that. So that way, because as women of color, we've been taught that we need to climb the ladder. We need to climb the corporate structure in order to have financial security. And that's simply not true. And we think we saw that in 2020, where people started to realize, like, oh, I can start a business. I can make money. I don't have to do a 9 to 5 that drains me every day. So it's really starting with that flow state and then building out. So I do a lot with like, what could you do while you're asleep and just deliver at the highest quality level. And once we find that for each client, that's when we start to build a business around it. We start to find out, okay, how can we make this tangible? Who's looking for this service? How can they benefit? And not just in the short term, but in the long term from your service. So a lot of relationship building as well. But it allows you to tap into some things. Like I never thought energy work and coaching would go hand in hand, but yet they marry beautifully because causes you to be really present, connected, and to listen beyond the words of what somebody is saying, but into the energy of what they're saying. And so it's allowed me to bring up some points that people haven't really noticed because they're living in the situation of like, yeah, life is linear, everything goes step by step. And it's like, no, the cool thing about intuition is it'll jump you several steps ahead. So for me, how I experienced that is I was like, what could I do that I can do in flow very easily? And that was energy reading and consulting people. I didn't realize I was coaching my whole life, but once I realized that, I was like, okay, this is easy. So how can I make this attractive to women of color? They want financial freedom. So that's why in my promise, it's a 4-figure client so they can learn the skills that they need to quit their job, travel the world, have more fun with their loved ones instead of just being stuck in their head all the time trying to follow somebody else's checklist that doesn't resonate for their life.
Right, right, Tracy. So for you as a business coach, what are these clients they come to you for? What are the general questions that they ask? How do you deal with those questions, especially around intuition?
So a lot of them, they wonder if they're overthinking it or if this is their intuition. So I teach them how to identify that in your body. So notice if you are somebody who struggles with imposter syndrome or overthinking, listen to the thoughts, like actually let them play in your head, listen to them and notice how your body is responding. If your body is curving in on itself, if you feel like you need to be protective, if the thoughts are very frantic, that's your overthinking analytical mind coming up. Now, if you feel relaxed as you're listening, that's going to tell you right away that that's your intuition speaking to you. So a lot of questions about imposter syndrome as well, like, am I qualified enough to do this? And that blows my mind because I've also heard statistically, men don't necessarily have those same thoughts and feelings. It's more conditioned in women. So with that, we just really get down to the nitty gritty in an energetic way. I do an energy reading on them. I check their chakras and anything that comes up from the past that is influencing the pattern, we do an energy clearing to remove that. And I also teach them how to move the energy on their own. And so for anyone who gets stuck with energy, take the time to, journal, meditate, physically move your body, Epsom salt baths, all of these things will help you kind of tap into your intuition and sort of clear your energetic field so you're not being influenced by external factors that won't benefit you.
Right, right, Tracy. You just talked about chakras and all. So when did you learn about these? Are much more Indian terms, which
Yes.
we use. So when did you first come across these things, and how did you learn more of it? A lot of people in India have just heard it. Not everyone practices it, but I'm sure I would be curious to understand for a lot of people to understand this part.
Yeah. So for me, it was right after that intuition workshop that I went with my coach. The person who led the workshop was a Reiki master. And I learned from her the principles of Reiki, but then I've kind of put my own spin on it. But that's when I first learned about chakras and how they can affect people's energy in their day to day life. People don't realize how influential they are. But yeah, so around 2014 is when I first learned about them. And I use them in my work ever since because they're really our energy centers that we're based off of. The things that we love and part of who we are, that's in our root. And so for those of you who are unfamiliar, that's kind of like near your tailbone. But there's so much beauty in exploring the chakras and understanding ourselves better from an energetic perspective. So that way we can build in support around those areas so that those parts of our personality get to shine in our business. And we're not working against kind of our natural energy and energy flow.
Right, right. Now let's talk about spirituality. Is intuition uh, almost like spirituality, or is it bordering, or there is an overlap? How should we understand intuition and spirituality?
That is a great question because I usually personally I put them together. I think because intuition, how I look at it in the three parts of, the body wisdom, signs and themes and patterns, plus insights, to me, that includes both the external, because I believe spirituality is kind of us communing with the divine, right? We have this opportunity to tap into something that's much larger and to realize the connectedness of that. And that is spirituality. So I would say that intuition is actually under the umbrella of spirituality? Since you asked, that's a great question.
Wonderful, wonderful. So there is much to learn from you, Tracy, and I'm sure a lot of people would want to learn more about you, more from you, and also maybe want to be your client. So what is the best way for them to do so?
So the best way for you to reach me is at my website, which is www.traceyannrose.com. And that's TRACEYANNROSE.com. And you can fill out an inquiry form and I'll get in contact with you and we can set up a call or just have a little coffee chat, get to feel each other out and see how I can help you build a business that really reflects who you are authentically.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, AJ.